So this channel is all about helping you as a business owner, particularly if you're a solopreneur, particularly if you run your business with your spouse or you run your business with your family or a small team. These are the sorts of businesses that I've spent the last 35 years helping. Started my career off as an accountant, over the years developed as a coach and mentor. We still run an accountancy practice, and as a result I've written a couple of books. One of them is Rock Solid Growth, and there's a link in the description that will take you not only to the explanation of what that book is about, but there's a free scorecard there. It's worth doing that scorecard because when you're running a business, you wear many hats. You're the salesperson, you're the admin person, you're the person who delivers the service or product to your clients, you're the van driver, you clean the toilets, you do everything when you're running your own business. And over time, you're looking for ways to buy back your time, employ some people perhaps, eliminate some of the pain points along the way. And what my 10-point scorecard does is it identifies the weakest areas of your business. We know what you're good at, you know what you're good at, but where are the blind spots? Where are the things that you're not very good at? And if we can address those, we can make an improvement on, say, the 3 worst things in your business. What I've seen over the years, and this is why I wrote the book, because I've seen the evidence working with clients, is if we can fix the 1, 2 or 3 things that aren't going so well, not only does it fix those and make them better, it also has a knock-on effect in terms of everything else within the business. So let's take, for example, confidence. If you are lacking a bit of confidence in your own ability to do things, and we could increase your confidence, what we often find is that you have a different level of confidence, which means you win more business and your sales start to go up, but also you then get more confident about how you price things, and therefore the price goes up. If then you realize that you're not very good at your accounting and understanding numbers, and we take sorting out your accounting and sorting out your confidence, and we put those two together, those two have an even greater impact on your sales and marketing and your pricing, which generates more income, more profit, because you now understand the profit. And so you can see this interlinks with it. And so as I produce my videos each week to continue this conversation, I'm trying to pick out bits and pieces of that book, Rock Solid Growth, and give you deeper conversations about it. And the conversation today came from real conversation with a client. And this isn't just a one-off conversation. Over 35 years, I've had this conversation a lot. And because we talk to our clients on a regular basis, when clients come and work with us, we give them the ability to speak to us every single week. We get together with them twice a quarter on full day events that they are welcome to come and spend the day with us. And in doing so, over time, we build up a really good relationship in terms of understanding everything about them. And because of my coaching and mentoring skills, I'm able to see also the things that they don't say. So this guy I know is struggling a little bit from cash flow. He's lacking a bit of cash, predominantly because he's just spent the last 18 months trying to sell a house and getting out of a toxic relationship. And in doing so, it's been a massive distraction for him in his business. And as a result, the business has taken a bit of a nosedive and he's running out of money. Now, his response to me when I said, hey, how's things going in terms of the money side, was, well, if I just stay positive and keep going with my sales, all that stuff will sort itself. And that is a really good attitude. You know, when you've got something not going so well, sometimes just go and do something positive because it counteracts the negative in your life. And it's a good strategy if you can put yourself in that mindset. And the challenge is that once you start realizing positive mental attitude and being positive does make a difference, that positive mental attitude can turn into positive sickness, where you're so positive, you're bouncing around all excited and going, yeah, everything's going to be okay, but you're not actually addressing the real problem. You're just ignoring the real problem. And that's what I said to him. And I've known him long enough now. He's been in my world probably about 4 or 5 years now. So I was able to address this to him. And because I knew all of the story, the backstory, I was able to bring this up and say, look, when you're worried about money, having a positive attitude and going to work with a mindset of, look, go get some more sales, it'll solve the money problem, 10 out of 10, great. That's a good attitude to have. But ignoring the details, ignoring the data is a 2 out of 10. So what I've got him to do is pull up a spreadsheet and make a list of what he owes. Because when you make that list, you face the truth. The truth then stares you in the face. Okay, I thought I owed £60,000. Actually, it's closer to 80. My own mental maths hadn't kept up with the interest charges and the penalties and all the things that go on with debt. Okay, that's the figure. And then we break it down into what has to be paid now. And it might be that, let's say, for example, you've got a credit card debt of £10,000. Ideally, you want to pay that whole debt off of £10,000, but the credit card facility will allow you to make a payment of £250 this month, or whatever the number is. So the goal is to pay £250 just to keep the thing moving. So when you break this list of numbers down and then start breaking down what needs to be paid next, you realise that the time frame that you want to pay it off versus the reality that you're faced with is going to be different. There's going to be a difference in the gap between your reality and the reality of the numbers. And therefore you might be looking at this and going, I want to pay this off in 3 months, when in reality it might take you 18 months to pay it off, because you map it on a spreadsheet with, this is what I owe, and this is the monthly payments that I'm going to make. Now, when you've mapped out the monthly payments and you can see this is what I've got to pay in total to pay all this, it's a really good idea to get that organised and say, put all those repayments into a single bank account, or ring fence them into a pot or something like that, where you can go, right, each month, let's say the repayments are £3,000 a month, I've got to put £3,000 into that pot, and that £3,000 will be distributed into amongst all these items. That process of doing that, believe me when I say this, and I've seen this, people do this, brings a level of anxiety down. You now know what the truth is. You face up to the truth, but you also now have a little bit of a plan, even if the plan is for the next 30 days or the next 90 days. Because you know the ultimate plan is to generate sales. But you also know that in your business that sales, sometimes there's a lag. There's a delay between going out, finding a new prospect, and them actually giving you some money, because you've got to sell to them and send an invoice and get paid and do the job and all the rest of it. So there's that lag. And I think sometimes what happens is when people are under financial pressure, they immediately think that if I work harder and harder and harder and faster and faster and faster, I'll be able to solve this problem. But of course what happens is you end up working harder and harder and harder and faster and faster and faster, and you burn through your energy levels, your energy starts to drop off, and then this debt problem becomes something you actually hate, and it just makes you very unhappy. So by facing this challenge and bringing that data to a place where you can see it all, you're faced with the truth. Now, when you're faced with the truth, we now need to look at it and ask different questions. So for this particular chap, I got him to reframe it. First thing was reframe it, because all he was saying, debt, don't want to talk about it, let's ignore it, it's just debt. And I said to him, that amount of money that you've got into debt in the last year or so is because you were getting out of the toxic relationship and the property that you were in to the place you are now, where he is very much a happier individual because he's now got a new place to live with his children, and life is great, and he looks even better for it as well. Is that this debt was his cost of entry to the next level. It's a bit like he needed to go to the Premiership and pay to get in. It's his ticket to get in the door. And as soon as we started talking about this and using metaphors like that, he went, oh yeah, okay. And I don't know what the figure is because he hasn't worked it out yet. But let's say the figure is £60,000 that it's cost him to move and be distracted. Well, that's cost him £60,000 to change his life. And the moment he said that to himself, the moment he sort of reframed it, he went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah, that was worth paying that. Great. Well, now what we've got to do is work out how we pay off that ticket price, that entry price to the next level. He just felt a whole lot better straight away because he'd reframed it. Then, of course, we said, if we knew what the figures were, and he doesn't really know what the figures are, you now can change the question. Instead of, how do I repay this? You ask a different question. Who do I know that can help me? Who do I know who can have a conversation with, who can point me in the right direction? Who do I know that can solve this problem for me, solve this problem with me? Well, of course, I'm his accountant, I'm his coach and mentor. Hey, hi, I can help, but only if I know what the facts are. And that's what I said to him. I said, I don't know what the facts are. I said, it's no good just telling me you owe some money. That's meaningless. Okay, give me the data, give me what the real problem is, because in amongst it all, there will be solutions. There's always a solution. There's always a solution to this. Even if the solution is you don't want to hear the answer to it, which could be the worst case in your mind, which would be liquidation and bankruptcy. Do you know what? It's a solution. It gets you out of the problem. It gets everything paid off. But it's not going to happen if you keep ignoring it, if you keep burying it. It's like having a pot of white paint with a big daub of black paint that's been dripped in it. You're trying to paint with the white paint and you're just trying to avoid this black bit, and you know the more you stir the paint a little bit, the more the black seeps in, and eventually you look at the wall and it's grey because you didn't address the spot of black that landed in the white paint. You've got to pick that black out, park it somewhere and address it, deal with it head on, face on. And that, of course, shows up in what I talk about in the book in terms of our thinking. Our thinking is, oh, I'm in debt, oh, it's terrible, and you go into a bit of a decline, when actually sometimes we just have to stop the initial emotional reactions that we have to all this and switch out the practical thought process to address what is the debt, what does it really mean, how did I get here? Because if you got there through your habits and actions of running your business, unless you change those habits and actions, even if you paid all this off in the worst case scenario and went completely bust and started again, if you keep doing the same habits, you're going to end up doing the same things. Does that make sense? So I want to do this video a little bit different today. I normally do all my videos on a whiteboard. I'm actually at my desk. So I thought, well, I'm just going to see if this works. Your mission, leave some comments below and I will happily create some more videos specifically around your comments. Go get a copy of the book. Go have a look at that video. It'll be really informative, and do the 10-point scorecard and assess your own situation to see if you can find some improvements. Anyway, I'm out of here. See you soon.